The NBA draft is right around the corner. Today is Prospect Pipeline Wednesday, obviously. Normally we keep this reserved for baseball, and we will. We did put up a Jason Dominguez Prospect Pipeline on the Yankees, but with the NBA draft being tomorrow, Thursday, June 22nd, June 23rd, we're going to get straight into it and cover the NBA for once. So we're going to cover the NBA draft. The Orlando Magic had the first pick, the OKC Thunder with the second pick, and Houston Rockets with the third pick. There is a main kind of core three guys set to go at the top. And we're going to get into who's going first, who's going second, who's going third. We're going to cover that right here on Bleacher Brawls. My name is Derrik, and let's get into it. So there's three main guys who are slated to go in the top three. And I think it's pretty obvious who that big three of this draft class is. Paolo Banchero, Jabari Smith, and Chet Holmgren. They all have the intangibles. They all could potentially go first, but it seems like teams are kind of going in the direction they're going. Seems based on fits or whatever, who they think is going to be as player. I kind of have a feeling that the first three picks are going to go in a certain way, and I feel like these three picks are going to kind of fit the teams in somewhat of the best way. So to get into this, the Orlando Magic had the first overall pick, and they put out a pretty good roster last year. Cole Anthony's there, Mo Bamba. Obviously, not everyone was healthy, as like Jonathan Isaac wasn't healthy. Wendell Carter Jr., Markelle Fultz, R.J. Hampton. They have a very good young core. Mo Wagner. They have Jalen Suggs. There's a very good core there that's young for the most part, very young core. Now, Markelle Fultz and Mo Bamba are both restricted free agents. Will they bring them back? I don't know. We'll see what they do. We'll see what the Magic's plans are. However, I feel like there's one thing that the Magic are missing. The NBA, and we saw it with the Celtics going into the finals, and even a little bit with the Warriors. The one thing that looks like it's going to be dominating the NBA for the next couple of years are big wings. The Celtics had Tatum and even Brown in a sense, but definitely Jason Tatum. And the Warriors had Andrew Wiggins. Maybe Chris Middleton, maybe a big wing, maybe I don't know. Giannis, Giannis is kind of just a freak of nature with the Bucks, but you're seeing a lot of big wings come, and there's one guy that fits the big wing mold more than anyone else in this draft class, and that's Jabari Smith. I mean, let's be honest, that 6'10" guy who can knock down the three ball, shoot it very well, plays good defense. And like that's literally your big wing, and you pair it with Jonathan Isaac. Isaac's not great offensively, but he's stellar defensively. And you run some sort of lineup, even if they don't bring back, Markelle Fultz. I'm high on Markelle Fultz. I think he can be a solid starting point guard. But even if they don't, you have Cole Anthony, Jalen Suggs. You also have R.J. Hampton, a couple other guys who could start at your guard positions. And then you run Jabari Smith and Jonathan Isaac at your 3 and 4 and whatever, whoever's your 3 or 4 doesn't really matter. But that's your 3 and 4, and then your 5, whether it's, Mo Bamba, Wendell Carter Jr., or maybe they go crazy, go with a big lineup and run a guard with Jabari Smith, John Isaac, and then 2 big men in Wendell Carter Jr. and Mo Bamba. If they bring back Mo Bamba, obviously that's an if. We don't know if they will. But I feel like Jabari Smith fits the Magic perfectly. And honestly, I don't think they really need a big man. I feel like Banchero's more of a 4, and Holmgren's obviously a 5. So obviously a center. Whereas you could get away with Jabari Smith as a big wing. I think he definitely fits that big wing kind of conversation, even though he is 6'10". But Kevin Durant, 6'10", 6'11". So I'm not comparing him to Kevin Durant, but I'm just saying size-wise, you can have guys who are 6'10", 6'11", and still be classified as that kind of big wing. Jason Tatum, 6'9", 6'10". So it kind of works in that sense. Get a big wing. That's where I think the league is kind of shifting a little bit to the success of kind of big wings. And the Celtics were really good at it last year with Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum. That's why they made it to the finals. And I think that's important. That's why I feel Jabari Smith fits the Orlando Magic perfectly. Now moving on to the second pick. This one was the biggest toss-up for me. I really didn't know where to go. The Thunder do have themselves a nice little roster. You got Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, who I love Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, but you got Josh Giddey as well. And those two seem like kind of the main building blocks of their roster, but then they do have some other nice pieces. Darius Bazley, we'll see how he ends up. Lou Dort. They have Ty Jerome's there. Trey Mann, Theo Maladone, Pokusevsky is there, Jeremiah Robinson Earl, Isaiah Roby. There's a lot of young guys. Not all of them may necessarily turn out. Jalen Hurd as well, and those young guys. Maybe they don't all turn out. like, great. But the Thunder really, I think if they're set to choose between Holmgren and Paolo Banchero, I think that's the perfect decision for them. That's the decision they want, if I'm honest. I think that's what they want. And if I'm the OKC Thunder, I'm looking at my roster going, you know what we could really, really, really use? A center. The center's position right now for the Thunder, they could really use one. And there's one right there on the board for them in Chet Holmgren. He makes too much sense for the Thunder in my sense. They don't really have a center that fits that they can play. Their centers right now, last season, their centers at the end of the year were Derrik Favors, it was Mike Muscala, and Pokusevski. Those are their centers. That's not, great. They could really use a center, and I feel like Chet Holmgren. Obviously, Banchero would fit them. I just don't feel he fits them as much as the Thunder could have really, really, really used a center, especially put a center around Shai Gilgeous-Alexander and Josh Giddey as, then you kind of get your kind of young big three going, plus all the picks the Thunder have down the road. They can still get kind of a wing, like a big wing. If Jabari Smith fell to the Thunder, I would take him from the Thunder because I think big wings are where the league's going. But if you're stuck between Holmgren and Banchero, I think you have to go Holmgren if you're the Thunder. I just think that makes too much sense for them. And it just, to me, that's where the Thunder kind of need to go. They need a center. So if Holmgren's on the board and Smith is off the board, which I think will happen, I think they got to take him, which leaves the third pick. And that leaves the Houston Rockets to take Paolo Banchero. And the Houston Rockets did just trade away Christian Wood. So that would give you a little bit of thought of, okay, they're probably going for some sort of big, either Holmgren or Banchero. They're expecting one of them to fall because I doubt they go 1-2 and Smith falls to 3. But they do have a nice roster. It seems like it's going to be kind of headed by kind of Kevin Porter Jr., but mostly Jalen Green. I think Jalen Green's that big building piece there, and he did play better in the second half of the season. They did just trade Christian Wood, obviously, so you lose that. But Jalen Green's a big building block right now. And if you add in a Paolo Banchero, you kind of have that guard forward kind of combo that normally works well. Banchero, I don't think he's a center, but I don't think he's a wing like a 3. I think that 4 spot does fit Banchero perfectly, especially now in today's NBA. I feel like that spot fits him literally perfectly fits him. And when you look at the Houston Rockets roster, considering the fact that they traded Christian Wood, who was their starting power forward, to me that makes sense. Banchero can pretty much he can score off the dribble. He can drive to the paint. He's very aggressive offensively. And it makes sense that would, and it seems like that would work very well with Jalen Green. And the Rockets would then set themselves up with the core of Jalen Green and Paolo Banchero for the future and really try and get their rebuild going and center around those 2 guys and maybe the other guys as well. So I feel like for the Houston Rockets, honestly, I think for the 3 teams, I think those 3 players are the best fits. For the Magic, I think Jabari Smith is their best fit. I think for the Thunder, Holmgren is their best pick. And I think for the Rockets, I think Paolo Banchero is their best fit, if I'm going to be honest. I think all 3 teams in this situation end up with the best fit for them. And Banchero's already worked out for the Rockets. Seems like the Rockets are very interested in him. Jabari Smith's already had a workout, I think, with the Magic. I think the Magic are very interested in him. And that kind of leaves Holmgren for the Thunder. The Thunder kind of would they take one of the other 2 if they're available? So whoever goes first, if Holmgren's at 2, would they take Jabari Smith or Banchero over him? If whichever one's still available, who knows? But it's going to be interesting. Obviously, there are a couple other guys that could sneak up into the top 3. I doubt it, but Jaden Ivey maybe could sneak into the top 3. He seems like the one guy who could. Really, I don't know if anyone else would really sneak into that top 3. It's probably just Jaden Ivey, realistically. But that would sneak into that top 3. But I just don't see it. I think that there's that clear big 3 in the draft, and I still think the rest of the lottery is still good. I just don't think it's that same level as that top 3 in this draft. So I think if you're the Magic, the Thunder, or the Rockets, you're picking one of those 3 guys. And honestly, the Rockets don't have a bad spot because they could use all 3 guys on their roster, in my opinion. So they're just going to wait, and whichever one falls to them, they're going to take. And whereas the Magic and the Thunder are the ones that have to make those decisions to say, we have to pick the one that fits the best for us, whereas the Rockets, I think, can really just sit back and go, well, we're going to end up with one of the 3, so because we got the 3rd pick, so we'll take whoever we get. And I think that's kind of how it's going to play out. And it's all going to depend on who the Magic take at number 1. If they don't take Jabari Smith, there can be a little bit of shakeup in the draft order, at least at that top 3. And maybe Jaden Ivey could jump into that top 3 as well. Who knows? But I don't see any reason why the Magic shouldn't take Jabari Smith. I just think he fits them perfectly. And being a big wing, I just feel like that fits the NBA right now. It makes too much sense for them to pass on him. Not that the other options are bad. I just think he fits them best. And I don't really think they necessarily need another big, especially if they do bring back Mo Bamba. I just don't really see the need for it for another big if they have Wendell Carter Jr. and Mo Bamba on their roster again this year. To me, that just doesn't make sense. But I think that's going to wrap this one up. Thanks for checking out this kind of little NBA mock draft, I guess, top 3 mock draft. Who's going in the top 3. Make sure to check out all our other videos. Check out, and we'll have more prospect pipeline videos. There's the Jason Dominguez one, and then also all our other ones that went up previously. Make sure to check out all our other videos. We have a bunch of good content coming out. We're changing the YouTube schedule up a little bit. We 5 videos Monday through Friday. Videos will be posted at 1 p.m. with the exception of a 2-video day where one will go up in the morning and then the other one will go up at 1 p.m. But yeah, that's going to wrap this one up. Thanks for checking this out. Everything should be, if you go to our channel, go to the About page, everything will be there with the updated schedule and all that stuff when you see everything. It might take us a couple days to fully figure out the schedule, but just keep an eye out for it. Check out all the links in the description, the website, podcast, Instagram, and Twitter, plus the Bruce Twitter. Check out all that. My name is Derek. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you next time.